If you ever booked out an Airbnb that looked amazing in the photos, but then turned out to be a complete disappointment, you are not alone. But here's the thing, most people actually book Airbnbs completely wrong. I have spent the past 3 years studying tens of thousands of Airbnbs, and today, instead of helping Airbnb hosts make more money, I'm helping you, the guest, figure out how to book an Airbnb that is great and affordable. These are 4 insider tips that Airbnb hosts do not want you to know about. Let's get going. Psst, Airbnb hosts, just do the opposite. Now, before I can actually get into explaining these 4 steps, you need to understand how a host determines what their nightly rate is going to be. The host will go and look at their entire competition to try and see exactly what they're priced at. And then the host, who feels really good about their listing, says, I'm as good as that listing over there. And then they go and price their home at that same price. Now, here's the reality. You as the guest is the person who ultimately decides what that property is worth. Because if you don't book it, the host has to lower their nightly rate. And they will continue to do this until they get booked. Now, the key thing you need to know here is the psychology that is happening in your mind as you are going to book an Airbnb. You see, it's the same idea as booking a hotel or really anything else that you buy. You want to feel confident that the money you are about to spend is going to be well spent. And so then therefore, you're going to get the Airbnb that makes you feel the most confident about your purchase. And you feel confident about your purchase based off of how good the photos are for you to be able to see how good that listing looks and how good the reviews are. And so what you're actually going to learn in this video is how to turn off that natural instinct of trying to find the perfect listing that's going to make you feel confident, and instead look for these little indicators throughout the Airbnb listings that can still make you realize that you're getting a good Airbnb with a good host for a fraction of the cost. Because once again, you guys ultimately determine what the nightly rate is going to be. And if you figure out how to get around it, you can get it at a good rate. All right, let's get into it. What are these 4 things? Insider secret tip number 1, Airbnb listings with bad photos are always going to be more affordable. Hear me out. When you are going to book, like I had just mentioned, you want to feel confident about the listing that you're about to book. However, if the photos are dark and taken with an iPhone, not high quality, and they're not edited or anything along those lines, you see that as a lower quality property automatically, and you don't feel as confident with it because you go and look at all these other Airbnbs and they're beautiful. They're really well put together. The photos are majestic and it's amazing. But that's not the type of Airbnb that we're looking for during this video, right? We're trying to find this more affordable secret listing that is actually cheaper but still great. And the photos is the first indicator. When you look at them, you'll know what I mean when you see it. They're not going to be very pretty. They're not going to be very well done. They're not going to be very bright. Those are the listings where you won't have confidence and everybody else won't have confidence. And then that Airbnb host is actually forced to lower their price until it gets to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm willing to take the risk for this price, and you end up renting it out. Now, the trick is that you actually want to look for this. When you look at the photos, you want to look past the fact that they are bad photos and just try to see everything that they have within the home and try to ask yourself, do I still see everything that I want in this Airbnb listing? Is the design of it still pretty good? Does it seem pretty clean still? Does it still have the amenities? Just constantly look for the things that you want in that listing. Is the kitchen still nice? Is the bathroom nice? Are the bedrooms set up nice? And if you can see that all of those things are met, you are now looking at a listing that has everything that you want, but they just have bad photos and they are cheaper because of that. It's usually my number 1 tip that I give to any Airbnb host is take better photos and you'll make more money. And so if we flip the script, you look for the Airbnb with not great photos, but still well put together, and you're gonna save money. Now, of course, you don't just wanna go based off of bad photos. There's gonna be other factors that matter as well, which brings us to the insider secrets tip number 2. And this is without a doubt gonna be the bulkiest section. I've got a lot of different things that I wanna cover. We all know there is no better way to be able to know if you're looking at a good listing or a bad listing than looking at the reviews. And so let's get into each of these different ways to look at the reviews to know if you're looking at a good host or a bad host. Because I can't stress it enough, not every single Airbnb host is a great Airbnb host. Unfortunately, that's just the case. Some people are better than others, and you want to find the better ones with the worst photos to still feel confident about the booking. These first 2 are the fastest way to be able to know without a doubt that this is going to be a solid listing. The first one is the guest favorite badge that Airbnb now has. If that listing is top 5%, top 10%, top 1%, you know you're working with a good host. Unfortunately, almost all of those listings are gonna have beautiful photos and really well put together because the host kind of knows what they're doing. But number two is when you go through the reviews, you wanna try and see how many times past guests have mentioned the Airbnb host name. If they're in there and they're like, John was great, John did an amazing job, John was super responsive, and you're seeing this over and over and over and over again, that is the cleanest indicator that you were looking at a full-time Airbnb host who takes hosting very seriously and is on top of their game. And that's exactly what you want when you're going to an Airbnb. I also like to see at least 2 to 3 reviews every single month for the past ideally 12 months. And the reason being is because, again, that's an indicator that this is a full-time host, somebody who's doing this likely for a living, which means they don't have another job going on or whatever it may be. And so you can trust that this person's gonna be on top of their game because they're hosting so many people. And if they're all pretty well good reviews, then you should feel confident that this person is actually gonna take care of you. What happens if you come across a bad review, right? There's different scenarios, and I'm gonna walk through some scenarios here. So scenario one is you come across a bad review and it's pretty recent, like within the past, month or so, and it's about cleaning. They said that the listing wasn't cleaned properly for whatever reason. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that every single person has different levels of how clean something is. And we've gotten bad reviews simply because the bathroom was outdated and people just felt like it was kind of grimy. And so then they left a bad review. We fixed up the bathroom, cleaned it the exact same way, and all of a sudden it wasn't grimy. So you have to keep that in mind because not everybody sees things the same way that you see things. But keep this in mind as well. An Airbnb host hates bad reviews. Hates them like you wouldn't believe. And so if they see a review that comes through that says that the property was not cleaned well, I would bet a lot of money that the next guest to show up there, that home is going to be spotless because they don't want to get another bad review because then they're going to lose their business. With that being said, there's one thing you got to keep in mind, which is just natural human error, right? People are not perfect every single time, but they try their best. And when you clean a home, there's a lot of different places that you got to clean, and sometimes you can just miss something. And so it's not the end of the world if it has a bad cleaning because you know that the next one they're going to try a lot better, right? There's 2 million Airbnbs in America, and on average, there's 7 turnovers in a month, which means that there's 14 million cleans that happen on a monthly basis in America. So it's bound to happen where a clean is just not done properly due to human error. So if I were to see that there was a bad clean very recently, I'm not gonna be scared about it as long as I see that all the other reviews are pretty solid because I know that host is gonna fix it. Now, what about another scenario? What if there was a bad review about something broken within the listing that really mattered to you, right? Like the hot tub wasn't working or something. If I saw that very recently, I would be a little bit more cautious with that one because it takes a little bit to get those things fixed. You got to get somebody in based on their schedule. How busy are they? They got to come in between different guests to get that thing actually fixed. But keep in mind, the Airbnb host really wants to get it fixed because they don't want another bad review. And so it likely will be fixed within a month's time. And so as long as it's been about a month, I would feel fine about booking out that place. And you can always just ask the host, hey, has that been fixed? And they're gonna tell you yes or no. If they lie to you, you can ask for some sort of partial refund. I would assume that you could if the host is lying to you, right? So it's not really the end of the world in that scenario. Now, here's the last tip that I have when it comes to reviews. That is one that typically scares everybody away, but that's not what we're here to do. You're learning how to get around all this stuff, right? Now, when a new Airbnb is launched, there is something referred to as its ramping up stage, meaning that there's going to be a time period where it will not get booked out at the nightly rate that it should get booked out because it has to build some credibility. People have to be able to trust it, which is exactly what we're trying to learn how to get around right now. But in this time frame, the Airbnb is always going to be cheaper, like always. And you may be thinking like, yeah, but I don't want to book out an Airbnb that just got listed as no reviews or maybe one review. Like, how do I feel confident that that's actually going to be a good stay, whether they have great photos or not, right? Here's the thing. Click the photo of the Airbnb host, and then it's going to bring you all the way down to their host profile. You have to click it again, and then it's going to pop open their host profile. And in there, you can see how many Airbnb listings they have. And so if you don't feel confident about the brand new Airbnb listing with 0 reviews, you may feel a lot more confident about the 4 other Airbnbs that they have that all have 5-star reviews that are amazing and doing awesome. And you realize like, hey, this host actually knows what they're doing based off of these other Airbnbs that they manage. Therefore, this brand new one, they're probably gonna do a good job with as well. If they know what they're doing over there, they know what they're doing here, but this is new, and so it's cheaper. And so then therefore I can get it before it fully ramps up to what it actually should be priced at. That one there is the sneakiest and best way, because a lot of people are terrified of a listing that has no reviews, but that's a loophole to be able to feel confident about it and still get it at a good price. Now, insider secret tip number 3, location, location, location. If you are not within walking distance to whatever the reason was that you went to that specific place, then it doesn't matter. 5 minutes away or 15 minutes away, what's the big deal? It's an extra 10 minutes while you're on vacation. Who's in a rush? Think about this. If you are going to Austin, Texas, right? And if you're not staying right downtown where you can walk to everything that you want to go to, and you have to stay maybe 5 minutes away, you're hopping in an Uber to be able to drive there anyways. In that place that's only 5 minutes away from downtown is a lot more expensive than the place that's 20 minutes from downtown. And so then therefore, if you were to just go to the place that's 20 minutes away and then take an Uber to be able to get to where you want to go, because you're gonna have to take an Uber anyways, then you're gonna get the Airbnb for a fraction of the cost. This is like, if you're staying in a city, this is an absolute no-brainer. Airbnbs that are closer to the city always make more money. The further they get away, the less they make. Meaning, to you guys, they are cheaper the further they are away. And so if you gotta drive 5 minutes or 20 minutes, who cares? What you wanna do here is maybe figure out what the Uber will actually cost you from going downtown to the 20-minute away Airbnb. Think about how many trips you maybe need to take throughout your entire trip, and then add that all up to figure out if it'd be cheaper to get an Airbnb 5 minutes away or 20 minutes away. I'm telling you, that one right there will save you hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the next handful of years. Now, another tip that maybe not everybody's gonna feel comfortable with, but depending on who you are, you may use this one. There are parts of the city that are just naturally not as safe, right? You don't feel as good when you're there. Now, I personally would not want to live in some of those areas if I could afford to be able to live somewhere else. But when you're renting out an Airbnb, if you really think about the entire trip, you're not really walking around the neighborhood. You're in the Airbnb, then you're hopping into an Uber, and then you're going to your destination. I just went to Louisville for a bachelor party. We stayed in an area that was not great, to be honest. I would not want to live in that general area. I've got nothing against the people. I just would not want to live in that general area. And I think you know exactly what I'm referring to, right? And when we were there, we stayed inside the Airbnb 100% of the time. And then we called up an Uber, we hopped in the Uber, we went to where we wanted to go, and we came back, we went right back into the Airbnb. We didn't walk around the neighborhood at all. So then therefore, why would the neighborhood really matter? And this Airbnb was a fraction of the cost of the Airbnbs in the nicer neighborhood. And so if you feel okay with going to those parts of the city and staying in one of those Airbnbs, then they're gonna be significantly cheaper in comparison to going anywhere else. And the last and final insider secrets, tip number 4, sleeper amenities. What do I mean by sleeper amenities? What you have to realize is that every single Airbnb host doesn't know how to market their listing as well as other hosts. And you can quite literally get amenities for free. Now, it may not feel free because you're still paying to stay at the Airbnb, and just because it has the amenity, like you're paying for it, right? Everything is just kind of cheaper. But the reality is that it's actually free. You see, some hosts will buy a hot tub, perfectly functioning $10,000 hot tub, and then they take one photo with their iPhone with the lid on it, and they put it as the second last photo in the entire listing. And the vast majority of people will not even scroll all the way down to be able to see that or even notice it. And so what that means is that this Airbnb has a really great amenity that if you knew about it and it was like really well marketed, you would be paying more to stay at that listing simply because of that. However, in this scenario, in that Airbnb, you get that hot tub amenity for nothing extra, because that host has to lower their price to the same price as the other Airbnb listings that don't have hot tubs, because nobody even realizes that they have a hot tub in the first place. And so you can quite literally get amenities for free. I'm telling you, it may sound weird or wacky, and maybe you don't believe me, maybe using free is not the best word to use, but I study how much Airbnbs make on an annual basis all day, every day. And I see Airbnb listings all the time that have amazing amenities that they don't show off, and they're making the exact same as somebody who just has like really nice photos and zero amenities. I came across a listing yesterday that had an entire pool that you didn't even notice until you got about halfway down the listing. A whole pool that you could get without even realizing. And so what I'm trying to say is that because they're not good at marketing, you're getting these amenities at a fraction of the cost. In comparison to if it was a good host who knew how to market it well, put it in the title, put it in the description, it was one of the first 5 photos, you're paying extra because it's very clear like this place has all these great amenities and I'm not just buying a bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, but I'm also getting a pool and a hot tub and a fire pit. And so you're willing to pay more. Whereas these other hosts don't even show off the things and then therefore you get them for a fraction of the cost. And now that you know all 4 of these insider secrets, use this strategy when you're going to look for an Airbnb and you're going to pay a fraction of the cost to go wherever you are going. And I will have just saved you a ton of money. And if that's the case, like, subscribe, enjoy these videos. And if you're a host, do the opposite. See you in the next one.